Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about how to do a free background check in the state of Utah. So to get started, visit utahpublicrecords.com, and I'll have a link in the description. You can click on that or just type it into your browser. Once you're on the homepage, you will notice that there's quite a few public record databases that you can use. A lot of these databases can be used when it comes to background checking, just depending on what type of background check you're doing. And I'll go over that in the first half of the video, and then the second half we're going to talk about criminal records. Criminal records are pretty much maybe the backbone of any type of a background check that happens out there. So in general, this video is made for public. These tools can be used in everyday situations, whether you're checking on your neighbor, a new date, maybe you're going to hire somebody to do a job for you. Maybe you want to look into a contractor's background, maybe a new business relationship, things like that. So everyday situations, and specifically I'm going to focus on free databases you have available to you in the state of Utah. So let's get started. So first example could be, for instance, you are trying to do a big remodeling job at your house and you're looking at hiring a contractor. So you could potentially look into this contractor and make sure that everything is legit. So you could click on contractor licenses, or for instance business records, and so you could come in and you have quite a few different license. These would be official licenses given out through the state of Utah. So you can look up quite a few different professions here. You can make sure they actually have a license, it's not expired or hasn't been taken away by the state. Make sure they're making their payments on time, that they're organized, make sure there's no issues with the state. You can do the same thing with a business. Any business that you're working with, you can look them up, see how long, for instance, they had it for. If you are, let's say, putting a lot of money into, let's say, a remodeling job, maybe you don't necessarily want to work with a business that's been around for, just a few months. Maybe you're looking for somebody that's kind of been around for a while, has the experience and the resources to get the job done right and not put you in a lot of risk. So these are just simple databases, free databases you can use. Another thing to consider is doing a court record check on maybe the company itself, or the individual that owns the company. You maybe want to check to make sure there isn't like any financial lawsuits against the company or against the individual, maybe a vendor, maybe an unhappy customer. So it'll give you an opportunity to kind of look into someone's businesses or even someone's past like that before you hand over like a lot of money, for instance, for a project. Or if you find something, you might reconsider working with that person. But at the same time, if you don't find anything, it just might give you a peace of mind when it comes to working with that individual. So just everyday situations where you can utilize some of these databases. So let's get to the criminal record part. And like I said, this is criminal records are typically going to be the backbone of just about any type of background check that's out there. And so let's see what free resources or ways you have available in the state of Utah to do this. So let's go hover over other records and click inmate search. And what happens, the way a criminal record is created, it's created when a local police or sheriff's department arrests an individual and charges them with a crime. And so what happens is a arrest document is created. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're guilty, but nonetheless, there is an official document out there, and you can actually go and research this information. Typically, the local county sheriff's departments will operate these databases. You'll have things like identifying information, incarceration information, bond information, and then, of course, the charges. You have, and each county kind of has like their own way of displaying the information and the way they search it, the amount of information they show you. Some of them might make you jump through some hoops here, like in this situation here. And then some of them will give you a mugshot, again, some identifying information, and then, of course, the charges. And so these records can be researched for free. If they don't have it and you do need that arrest report, you can always try to submit like a public public records request through the sheriff's department. Next, what happens is they'll either post bail, they'll be released sometimes, or they'll have to sit in jail, but everybody has to go see a judge, and that's where majority of that information is going to be captured, whether guilty or not guilty. And as you can see, Utah court system, you have anything from the Supreme Court to juvenile court, and we are talking about criminal information, so you're typically going to be looking at district and justice courts. And so you have your high-level crimes at the district level, and then also mid-level and low-level crimes and at the district level, and then justice will also do low-level crimes. So now you're not always researching criminal records when it comes to background checks. As you can see, you got things like evictions, domestic relations, probate, traffic, if you want to look into someone's driving background, things like that. So you have quite a few things you can research when it comes to background checking. So let's take a look at this database. I will say this: Utah doesn't have a free court statewide database that you can use. This database is actually paid, and they just upped the fee from $30 to $40, and so you're able to do like 500 searches a month on that. So this is good for somebody that's maybe doing a lot of searches, or maybe it might be good for just an everyday individual if he's got quite a few things to research. But unfortunately, Utah is one of those states that they don't necessarily release this information freely, not even basic information, which is kind of sad because majority of the states do. And your one option, since I am talking about what freeway options you have maybe to go around this, is you can they have these public terminals. They're special court record searching terminals at like a courthouse, and you can stop by and use these terminals. And typically they charge you $15 an hour to use these terminals, but the first 15 minutes are free. So if you can get your research done within the first 15 minutes, you don't have to make any payments for it. So just thought I would throw that out there since I am covering free ways of doing this. But yeah, it's slightly more difficult with the court records in Utah. Anyways, let's move on to the next phase. And so I'm going to go ahead and select inmate searches again. So you have your court, and then it will either be guilty or no guilty verdict. And if they are guilty, they'll either pay a fine or they'll have to go to serve some time. If it's under 12 months, it's going to be at a local jail. If it's over 12 months, it's going to be in the prison. And the prison system is managed by the Utah Department of Corrections, and they have their own database. So typically these would be more serious crimes that people were convicted of. And and you can research this information. Again, like some hoops we got to jump through here. So actually quite a few here. So I don't necessarily need to show you what the database looks like. But as you can see, you can research for free. Just type, first name, middle initial, if you got that, or middle name, and then a last name, and you can see who's in the Department of Corrections system. One more database to consider that is also free and statewide is the Sex Offender Registry. Another very important database to check when it comes to background checking. And in this situation, you can typically research by like an address, or you can do like if you have a name, you can just research by name. So you have a couple of different options when it comes to doing your research. As you can see, you can just type in an address or a name and see what shows up. So that's it for the free tools that you have available to you in the state of Utah. So once again, there are plenty of public record databases you can utilize. You have your arrest information, your court records, your prison records, and then you have your sex offender registry. Those are all related to a criminal check. And I'm not even going to get into all the other tools you have available to you. If you hover over other records, there are multiple pages here you can utilize for that. One more thing to consider is the name search on top. Now, this isn't a free database, But it's a great tool to use. Saves you a lot of time. It compiles databases, public record databases, court information, real estate information, criminal arrest information, financial records, has some access to private databases like cell phone numbers, previous addresses, things like that. And it doesn't just take records, it doesn't just compile records from Utah, it goes outside the state as well. So it pulls records from multiple states, kind of giving you like a nationwide look into someone's historic past. What's great about it is they compiled thousands of these databases into a single search system. It's pretty much instantaneous. Like you'll see almost right away, within moments, if they have some information regarding the individual, and then you'll have a choice to proceed or not. But what's great is, let's say somebody is living in Utah now, but they have a criminal past or any kind of maybe a court record or some type of a public record that could be of some concern. But let's say they have that in the state of Oregon or in Kentucky, and now they live in Utah. If you're just doing, like a search at county level or state level in Utah, you're not necessarily going to see that. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of expand your search, cover more bases, and make sure you're looking at more information. And it does it with ease. So great tool. See if it might be of some help to you. So with that said, visit utahpublicrecords.com and get started on your free background check in the state of Utah. Thank you.